Hello everyone, on today's video I'm going to be covering some useful advice for building better characters using the Pathfinder 1st edition tabletop role-playing system. I adore Pathfinder 1st edition, however the system has a lot of moving parts, and building an effective character isn't quite so simple as simply picking from a list of options. However, hopefully the following tips will provide some useful insights and advice. If it does prove helpful, I'd love if you could leave a like or subscribe to show your support, and if you have any to add or think I missed some common ones, please do let me know. Now without further ado, onto the video. Number 1. Know your endpoint, or a rough build to 20. With every character I build, I always try to have a rough idea of what their endpoint is. Now this is key, as in Pathfinder, due to the number of options you get between feats, class features and spell selection, there are a lot of possible outcomes, and not all of them will work together, and some even have very strict prerequisites in order to qualify for them. As such, when playing a character, I thoroughly recommend you have an idea in mind of what you're building towards, and use that to inform your choices as you pick options. This really helps avoid issues where down the line you've gotten halfway through a campaign and you find a character just isn't playing the way you'd like them to, leading to disappointment and frustration. Number 2. Try not to mix base attack bonus unless you know what you're doing. BAB. Every class has it, some need it less. However, if you're playing a class that has full base attack bonus and you're considering a second class or prestige class, take note of its base attack bonus progression. And, in many cases, I'd argue the same for spell progression, though that's more of an issue with prestige class level. If your new class has slower base attack progression, it may be worth considering how essential this new level is. I'm not saying don't do it, and I'm not saying that it's an unsolvable issue. But if you're playing a full base attack bonus martial class, and could say 10 levels of a class with half base attack bonus progression, you could find yourself at later levels struggling to hit higher level enemies, as every little helps, and base attack bonus is a free universal bonus. Number 3. Plan to deal with damage resistance or energy resistance. So late game Pathfinder enemies will have damage resistance, and they will also have energy resistance. A few creatures may not, however for the majority it is to be assumed and expected. As a result, make sure you plan how to bypass it. If you're a martial class, many classes have it built in. However, it's best to prepare of this ahead of it being an issue. As for energy resistance, it's even more essential. If you're relying on one of your damage types and a creature has a very high resistance or even immunity to your chosen type, then you can end up in a very, very dangerous position. Plan around this and expect it to come up. It will make your life easier, I promise. Unless of course you're playing an archer, in which case you can ignore everything I've just said and just hit clustered shots feat. Number 4. Feat progression is tied to character level, not class. This is a small one, but I'm going to repeat it. Every character gets 10 feat, one for every odd character level, not class level. As such, if you're mixing in several classes, don't forget to tally up your feats based upon your character's total level. Though, as I said earlier, planning ahead does help, and you will only get 10 feats for free, so you'll have to work for any beyond that number. Number 5. Bonuses only apply the highest. This is a system quirk and one that most often catches out newer players. When you gain a bonus from a source, it will almost universally list a type of bonus, from competence to insight to enhancement. This is as bonuses of the same type do not stack. They will simply apply the highest. For example, if I cast the shield spell on myself and was carrying a shield, they both give me a shield bonus to my armor class. As such, I'd only take the shield bonus from the highest source there. So, when building a character, make sure you're not overlapping bonuses, and try to collect a variety of different bonuses from a variety of different types and sources. That way you will maximize the benefits to your character's build. Number 6. Don't forget standard useful magical items. Many of your slots in your character have some items which are just excellent default picks if you can't think of anything better. If you have money and access to resources and a place to spend them, and aren't sure what else to invest in, the following are always useful and nice to have. Cloak of Resistance, which will give you a bonus to your saving throws. A Belt of a Physical Stat, which will give you a bonus to one of your 3 physical stats, and maybe more. A Circle of Mental Stat, which will do the same thing for your mental stats. A Ring of Protection, which will give you a bonus to your armor. And an Amulet of Natural Armor, which will give you a different type of bonus to your armor. And my personal preference, though it's something of a late game pickup, is always carry a Ring of Freedom of Movement. Seriously, don't leave home without it. Number 7. Class archetypes can be mixed. Classes often have subclasses and archetypes, which can change some core class features. However, did you know that you can mix these together? As long as two archetypes do not affect and/or change the same class feature, and there is no overlap, then you may freely combine classes together. This allows you to create some truly weird and wonderful builds, and fit in more than you were expecting when you first started. I'd recommend you try it out, although maybe not for your first character. Number 8. Anything can be retrained in character. From HP per level, to feats, to skill ranks, anything can be retrained in character. All you need is gold, time, and a trainer. The most universally useful version of this is you can spend cash to maximize your hit dice per level. This may not work in every campaign, however it's a very useful option if you just want to tweak your character a little bit without having to rebuild the whole thing or asking your GM's favour. It means mechanically you can adjust your build on the fly, and it's a really useful element of flexibility. Number 9. Immunities are king. At higher levels, immunities are the best. There are too many effects in Pathfinder that can mess with you in all sorts of horrible ways. As such, as you go through the levels, remember that immunities are the golden rule. The best way to handle debilitating effects is to find a way to simply ignore them. There are items and features, as well as class features galore to do this with. I won't give you a deep dive, but when planning your character, take note of how you're going to try and deal with some of the common debuffs you could be expected to face. Number 10. Be creative and have fun. This is a personal one from me. Try to make something fun. Pathfinder is a flexible system with a breadth of options which can allow you to make a vast array of different characters. If you have an idea, Pathfinder 1st Edition most likely has a means or a way to make that a reality in the system and make it work. Don't be afraid to try weird ideas and dig into all the weird little janky bits of this system. Just try to make sure you're having fun while you're doing it.